Hello, Swivelheads. It's Greg Allison with Green Gregs. Hope everybody's doing well this morning. My friends, the Empire strikes back. Russia has started to hit Ukraine for the first time since their Air Force was attacked by the drones from Ukraine. And they've hit Ukraine really hard. But I'm not really sure this is the revenge they had promised when Putin talked to Trump on about an hour and a half phone call recently. Uh, Putin said that he had to strike back. I mean, he's a strong man basically, and you can't be a strong man if you appear weak and then you lose all your power and credibility in your country. That can be understood why he would strike back. I mean, everybody expected him to strike back. But even though this is one of the largest attacks he's launched on Ukraine, it's still not exactly the largest attack. Is it smaller because he didn't quite have the wherewithal to fight back the way he wanted to? Or is this a case that there's more to come? I'm expecting there's more to come. What we know already is that he had planned to have a larger, well, they were planning to go in already. They were already planning to have a major summer offensive in Ukraine. This we know for a fact. We know for a fact that a lot was on the table that they were planning to do. You would think, in retaliation against what happened to their Air Force, that they would make a much larger strike on Ukraine. A lot of the pundits in Russia's call for them to go nuclear. The things that happened in terms of the strike on, well, hang on, I'll turn this down. The level of this attack doesn't quite rise the bar that we were expected. Now, what they hit with was they did use a Kinzhal missile, which is launched from planes, one of their hypersonic glide missiles. Some of the reports, report it as if they never used Kinzhals before. Well, they have. And they may not have used them recently, but they have used Kinzhal missiles, and they used Iskanders. So that was the basis of their attack. Was a lot of Iskander missiles this time. I think there were drones also in this attack. Well, there were, but so the case is that a lot of people were speculating that they would use their short range ballistic missiles, the SRBs, to make this type of attack because they didn't have the Air Force quite up to par yet. Maybe, it wasn't just the planes were taken out. A lot of facilities was taken out, and there weren't quite as many planes taken out as Ukraine had reported. Later, it's been found that, maybe half as many or maybe a little bit less were actually taken out than what Ukraine had claimed. But it was still a major hit that Russia suffered, and you can bet it would rise to the occasion of causing Putin to want to exact revenge. Does this attack rise to that bar? If you think this attack does, put a 1 in the chat. I'm sure a lot of you heard of it. We're going to go through the news reports. If not, put a 2. Now, in other news, this whole thing with Iran is about to cook off because there's no treaty in sight. There's no discussion in sight. It looks like no compromise. Basically, Ayatollah Khomeini has basically just dissed Trump completely. He's made fun of the whole process, and I just don't see them coming together here. The talks have basically discontinued. There's nothing that looks like it's going to come out of this, and there's only about a week left in the time that Trump said that he would do something to Iran if they did not comply with the treaty or come to terms. Excuse me, come to terms, not comply with treaty. Maybe make a treaty or some deal, but they've got nothing. Both sides are an impasse. So, maybe Trump had said, "Hey, no enrichment at all." Well, that's what the Ayatollah Khomeini has basically said. No, I can't go with that. He said that we cannot accept that. And he made fun of it, but still, it seems like they ought to be able to. There could have been a compromise there that had them enriching to some civilian level, but it could be because they actually hid a lot of the enrichment activities. It turns out they got a lot more materials at 60% than we knew. The IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Association, actually found that apparently they got enough materials now with just a slight bit more enrichment at 60%. They get to 90%. They could actually make something like 24 nuclear bombs. 24. Quite a bit. A lot more than is required to take out Israel. Really, if you just hit Haifa and Tel Aviv, Israel's done. It only take two to finish Israel completely. I got my chat room put on my phone now so I can see if anything interesting comes in. All right, let's see. We got a lot of our usuals in here. All the sun, Alice, Colorado Jan. Well, you're up late. So, in any event, guys, I will pay attention to the chat room after I finish the news part here. I'll try to get through it quickly. We got a lot to cover. I'm going to defer the discussions on the little major spat between Trump and Elon Musk for a video to be done on my channel, Swivelhead News. So, because there's just so much to cover, I got to cut something that's really late here. It takes a lot of time to put these things on. So one of the reasons you don't see me so much is because I'm in Pacific time basically right now, and I have to get up a lot of times during the week, like 5 a.m. or earlier for meetings with the Germans. So, all right, enough of that stuff. So it's really tough for me to do these videos. It takes a lot of time to put this stuff together. So we may be heading to war with Iran. I don't think Trump really wants a war. I hope we don't, because it really looks to me, and I've seen others talk about this, and I tend to agree with this. It looks like NATO and the neocons here in the United States are trying their best to drag Trump into World War III with Russia. What they want to do is put Trump's name on it. They want to provoke him into starting this. It's a trap. It's really a trap. They're trying to provoke him into this. And we see that he's been undercut. His peace negotiations have been undercut by no less than Senator Lindsey Graham and Senator Richard Blumenthal, Republican and Democrat, both neocons. As far as I'm concerned, the fact that they're in two different parties don't even matter. They're the same wings, the same vulture. So, same stinking vulture, as a matter of fact. They just were over there trying to, underhandedly negotiate with Europe and Ukraine, and their hotel bill was $800 and some odd $1,000. Now, then the sad thing is they've done this several times. So it's estimated that $2 to $3 million has been sunk by you, the taxpayer, into paying for these pro-war jaunts by Lindsey Graham and Senator Blumenthal into Ukraine. And something else that's interesting, I hear is coming out. I hear reports coming out that's showing that money has been laundered from Ukraine through Lithuania back into the pockets of no less than, Lindsey Graham and Blumenthal, especially Lindsey Graham. Whoo! So I hope their hands gets caught in a cookie jar. Those guys, what is this? When you're going behind the president, trying to undermine, you're trying to do this international negotiations. You're trying to thwart what the administration's trying to do. The administration's trying to reach peace, and they're over there trying to thwart it. Ladies and gentlemen, is that treason? If you think that's treason, I'd like to see you vote a 4 in the chat room. If you think it's not treason, I'd like to see a 3. But guys, this is beyond the pale what they're doing. And Lindsey Graham is up to his neck in ownership and contracts. He's got a lot of stake in the defense companies, and not to mention a lot of them are based there in South Carolina, or they have a lot of operations in South Carolina. I don't say they're all based there, but they have extensive operations in South Carolina. So Lindsey Graham is profiting from this. He's not saying, mention some war he didn't want us to get involved in. Mention some place where he didn't want us just to go in and bomb the snot out of him right off the bat. He's just a war hawk. All he wants is war, constantly. Yeah. Anyway, some people say that they think that he's got some skeletons in his closet. Well, I wouldn't be surprised beyond the money laundering potential. I used to accuse him of being, back when John McCain was alive, I accused him of being John McCain's wife, because John McCain was married to a woman, but gee, Lindsey Graham was right behind him everywhere he went. Wow. It just something about Lindsey Graham, it just sets me off. I have a big issue with that man. But anyway, enough said on that. China Pete Hegseth was in Singapore at that Shangri-La conference, the 2025 conference he had over there. And basically he said that the United States will defend Taiwan. Now, I've got the actual speech. In the speech itself, he didn't absolutely directly say it, but it was real close, very close. So, but that's apparently the scuttlebutt is that's what he's actually saying, that the U.S. will defend Taiwan. But he's saying that the attack by China on Taiwan looks like it's imminent. So, whether we get in a war with Iran or not, this China thing is cooking. And let's hope we don't get into it with Russia. Now, the good news on the Russian front is that Trump has basically said that, sometimes you just got, you see boys fighting in the park, or you got two siblings fighting, that sometimes the best thing to do is just let them fight it out. You try to separate them and they just want to fight. So you just let them fight till they're exhausted. So that says Trump's getting weird with this thing. So let's hope that he actually walks off. Some people say, oh, he's not going to, he's leading the charge. He may have people trying to pull his strings. Like I said, they're trying to induce him into this. But it looks and smells like a trap, and hopefully Trump is smart enough to smell the trap and doesn't get pulled into it. So let's hope and pray that we don't get in that one, because there's not, I've said all along we should just pull out of NATO, because NATO can really drag us into it. As long as we're in there and they got that Article 5, we could still get dragged in. That's the problem. And Putin has really zeroed in on the United Kingdom. He thinks it's the United Kingdom that's actually aiding and abetting the Ukrainian attacks, especially the drone attacks that have just recently occurred. According to kind of the language that Putin's putting out, he actually has drawn his ire upon the United Kingdom for that. So let's share some articles and try to go through them. Hope we can get through them quick. I'm just gave the preamble here. So let's get into the news, and then I'll spend a little time in chat, but it is 2:35 in the morning for me, and I'm not going to bed. Some of you guys hopefully are not been up all night. I do have working to do here on the homestead tomorrow, so I still got stuff to do here. So let me do a share here. I will mention that a little bit in the course of this video. Oops, I don't want to share from that page. Let me switch. Okay. Now let's do this again. Alrighty, my friends, here we are. Russia launches nuclear-ready hypersonic missile at Ukraine port city in major escalation. Again, this is the Kinzhal missile. They call it the Dagger. Well, that's just their name for Kinzhal, or that's maybe what Kinzhal is in Russian. And for those that don't know, the Dagger really is a Islander missile upgraded to be able to launch from aircraft. And launch from aircraft, it doesn't attain hypersonic glide velocities. So it makes it a very formidable weapon. And like I said, this wasn't the first time they've used one of these, even though if you read these articles, you might think it was. Ukraine strikes back, though. They strike a Russian missile base where the Islander launches are coming from, because, again, they're getting hit by these Islanders more and more. Daily Russian bombardment of Ukraine further dampens hopes of peace. Yeah, I don't see any peace there. No time soon. Putin really thinks he can take a big chunk of the country, apparently. So don't expect peace, especially after that drone attack. It's just not in the cards, guys. So that's basically what, as I say here, it's just what I basically said. So I don't know, point in dwelling on it. I'm getting all these ads from Truly popping up here in my, because I just made a big purchase from them. It's funny when you purchase something, they start running ads for what you purchased. Like, hey, if you think I don't know about that, that's funny. We'll go into that in a minute, though. Again, Trump spoke with Putin, and Putin says, hey, I'm going to respond. It's here on the articles. Kremlin's comments for the first time on strikes targeting Russia's strategic aviation. Again, it's the same thing. No point in dwelling on it too deep. Russian nuclear weapons now justifiable by Russia as new doctrine sparks serious concerns to the West. Now, that new doctrine says they can strike nuclear nations with nuclear weapons. If a nuclear nation sponsors an attack, conventional attack, even by another country on Russia, that Russia can strike back. But as I've shown you in the past, we went into the Kremlin website before these standards for nuclear war were modified. And even before this, before those changes were made, it said if you strike nuclear strategic assets of Russia, that Russia had the right to strike back with nuclear weapons. So that threshold was crossed. Even the old threshold's been crossed here. So it at least makes Ukraine a viable target. And if Russia thinks that the United Kingdom was behind it, they become a target. If the United Kingdom gets hit and we're still in NATO, we're bound by Article 5 to get involved. Although there's some saying, hey, Article 5 is not an absolute. Maybe Trump will still pull back away from. I don't know, my friends. That would be tough if United Kingdom gets hit. He loves King Charles. Unfortunately, I don't know why. Stinking royalty does not appeal to me. Anyway, but Ukrainians have done more than just hit the Kerch Strait Bridge. They took out 2 or 3 different trains that we're aware of over there in Russia all on the same day they made their drone attacks, or in the same time frame, within 48 hours at least. And now they've also hacked the Tupolev aircraft manufacturing operation. So they've hacked the Tupolevs, and now they know everything that there is to know about them from their hacking operation. So that's also another attack that the Russians are probably ticked off over. So this says nothing secret left. Ukraine hacks Tupolev bomber producer. So that's to be expected. Anyway, confirmed losses of Russian aircraft mount after the drone assault. And like I said, indeed, they made a lot of hits, but it wasn't as many as they claimed. Pardon me. There's several articles on that. I'm not going to go in depth into that because we're just looking at the broader strategic implications of this stuff. But now this is something, I got, basically knock on wood and say, you think so? Army Secretary says Ukraine's drone attack on Russia is a wake-up call for the U.S. too. You think so? Well, I've been talking about these drones since the so-called New Jersey drone incidents, where drones were flying on our bases around the world and had been doing so for a year. And it seems that we are powerless to do anything about it so far. We know that these drones have been flying over bases here in Arizona, for example, at the Goldwater Range and other places, and Germany and England, and all over the place. So we've had several major incursions of drone activity over U.S. military bases. So that is a big concern. Also, the big concern here again is the fact that China's bought all this land near to U.S. Air bases primarily, but all kind of military installations. So, and some people act like, oh, there's nothing to be concerned. I'm going to skip off that article. I ain't going to worry about that. Look at all these Tree Leaf Market ads popping up now. Anyway, my friends. So, yeah, see, Kremlin is now the Kremlin's saying, even though that the bridge was, the video shows the bridge being hit hard. There's no major damage. It's an operation. They can't destroy it. Well, the bridge can be destroyed, but they haven't succeeded in absolutely destroying it yet. Russia said the bridge is still operational. Now, this is what concerns me. When we send our military hardware around the world and put it in the hands of other people, it's what you got to worry about. Russian army captures 2 of Ukraine's last Abrams tanks intact. And they ask, why were they abandoned? So the Ukrainians basically turned over 2 of our high-tech M1 Abrams tanks to Russia. So now they'll know all of our technology. They can steal our technology. They'll share it with China, undoubtedly, China, North Korea, and they'll be free to mimic the technology, but they'll also be able to better assess the weapon and know its strengths and weaknesses. That's not good. That's the risk we take, letting our military equipment fall in the hands of the likes of the Ukraine. So should we have sent our tanks over there? If you think we should have, put a 5 in the chat room. If you think we shouldn't have, put a 6 in. I'd like to see what y'all think about our tanks going over there. Uh, Russia hides Tu-160s near U.S. border. So they're over close now to Siberia, the Russian part of Siberia. Although I've seen a recent article saying, oh, that's not so. Well, there they are. So, yeah, right here, guys. Yeah, could that be a threat to Alaska? It could be if they wanted it to be. Let's hope we don't get into it with Russia. That's all I got to say. Well, you guys are voting on that. So I'll say a couple of sixes. All right. Russia strokes World War III fears with terrifying response and message to the United Kingdom. This is what I'm talking about here. So they accuse Britain of playing a direct role in this escalation. Russia's UK ambassador, Andriy Keelan, or however you pronounce his name, is warning that Ukraine's recent drone strikes within Russian territory could potentially spark World War III. Also accusing Britain of playing a significant role. Basically think that Britain sponsored it and did the targeting and intel. And now, of course, Britain, thinking they might be getting to World War III, is suddenly willing to invest billions of dollars in defense, where they hadn't been able to in the past. Well, they're so far west of the front line, they shouldn't have to worry about it unless they got their finger in it. But we've asked them to do that, and they cried and complained about us asking them to step up the table and spend their fair share on their own defense, like we've been spending. But maybe it's starting to dawn on them and other European countries. It's time to do what Trump's been trying to pressure them to do. So Europe is doubling down on defense spending. Now the countries up next to Russia have been doing it all along. One, because they're close to Russia, and two, because they have lived under the boot heel of Russia in the past, under the communist system in the Soviet Union. They want no part of that. There's nobody that hates Russia more than those that were in it in the past. Oh yeah, keep getting all these tree leaf market signs, guys. So it's still time to plant a lot of your garden. You may have already started it, but there's some things you can do, because if we're getting into World War III, what you got's all you got. Being able to grow your own food is going to be crucial. So I'd highly encourage you to take a look here at Tree Leaf Market, because their seeds are non-GMO. And they're heirloom seeds, basically open air pollinated heirloom seeds. And the same thing goes for I'll have a link at the bottom of the video and in my the notes, pinned notes. Also Eden Brothers, same kind of deal. So you might find different things there, just to show you guys this is what I'm doing. I've covered this in the Food 9/11 video, which didn't get that many views. You guys, I show you guys how to grow your food on a 1/10 of an acre to feed 4 people in this video. And one of the key strategies, and this is really laid out to us by Jason Avers, our good friend. I've done some videos from his place, and I have him as a guest on this channel a few times. I'll probably get him back soon. But anyway, he, I discussed this. So I graphically drew it out. This is 9 square feet, 3 feet on each side of the square. And this is showing how to plant something that, and I'm going to show you, that's what I got over in this box beside me here. And I'm going to do this on my place. You can put sweet potatoes or squash in the middle. When you call it the Three Sisters, squash, beans, and corn. And I'm going to put a corn plant in each corner here and beans around it. And that we're open around it here to give the sweet potatoes and squash room to grow out. I've ordered some, I haven't got them yet. I've ordered some of the purple sweet potato slips, because it's been said that they're so good. And I'll show it after I do my video. I'll kind of show you what I got in my package here. But this is what I bought. I bought drought-resistant, short growing season corn and beans that I know that even if I'm planting a little bit late in the short growing season that we have up here in northern Arizona, where it's cold. Everybody thinks I'm too hot up here. No. Anyways, this stuff will grow well here. I just got to get my. I'm gonna have to put a pump on my water tank output so I can get more pressure to water with. Iran breaks silence on the nuclear offer. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas I don't know how you pronounce that, offered critical response to Trump's offer. And they really were condescending, but the ones most condescending was Khomeini. I used to call him Khomeini, but it's actually Khomeini. I guess I'm hearing that pronunciation from an Iranian YouTuber. So Khomeini. It's got a K in the front. I guess it's silent in this case, unlike Khomeini. I see. Anyway, I'm hunting some direct word. Not the ones from the Khomeini, the Ayatollah, are a little bit more. This is from their own website. Iran leaders, U.S. cannot do a thing on the nuclear issue. Basically, what they're saying is we can't hit them. Their stuff's so deep, we can't take it out. And if we do strike it, there's nothing we can do. We can't stop them. That's what they're really saying. Military aggression, not to eliminate Iran's nuclear program, from their foreign minister. No enrichment deal. That's what they're saying there. I got some actual words from them here somewhere. Since nuclear warning of the U.S. So he delivered a fiery speech on this, in which he said U.S. demands over its nuclear program are rude and insolent, accusing Washington of trying to block Iran's progress and self-sufficiency. Again, he said U.S. cannot do a thing. So why they say that? Well, because their facilities are so deep. In fact, we do have our big bunker buster bomb. We'd have to put two of them in the exact same place, the exact same hole, to be able to hope to even penetrate the tunnels, but they're in granite. So we don't even know if they would penetrate. Two of them in the same hole would penetrate. It might be that it would take a nuclear bunker buster. Now, we have developed nuclear bunker busters. So the Ayatollah commander says, in case, he said, in the nuclear issue, the U.S. is 100% against, what we can do, basically. But, yeah, he is totally. Our response to the U.S., nonsense is clear. They cannot do anything about this. So, and then he asked, why are you interfering with whether Iran has enrichment or not? What does it have to do with you? Who are you? He demanded. Yeah, so they're really just, he was mad. Fiery speech on it. And Iran chief says, hey, we've got all the technology. We know how to do this. We can complete the nuclear fuel cycle to make an atom bomb, basically, is what they're saying there. And Iran's ordered thousands of tons of ballistic missile ingredients to build 1,000 more missiles from China. It's already believed it got something like 3,000 over there. And the IAEA, that's hard to say, so many vowels. IAEA. Grossi, he's the chair of that. He says that Iran's nuclear facilities are buried too deep underground to be hit by surgical strike. And we went over it in the past. We've shown the armaments that we have available to us, what their penetration is. But that wasn't granite penetration, it was earth penetration. The facilities in Iran are buried at least twice as deep as that in granite. Some are deeper, and they got miles and miles and miles of them. Look, we use those on the Houthis, and they just kept on firing missiles. So there's no indication that we really can do anything about it. Now, it's interesting to see that the Trump administration is getting rid of the Iranian warhawks, or getting them out of the administration. So maybe they don't plan to strike. But Israel said they would strike, but all Israel could do is hit stuff on the surface. They really can't penetrate these bombs. So penetrate these bunkers, excuse me. So about the only way we could really hope to penetrate the bunkers is to use the nuclear bunker busters. If we do that, then we have normalized the use of nuclear weapons in war. That and probably would get hit by the sleeper cells here in home. They'd probably take out a grid. Oh, I've seen a report that claims that Iran has sleeper cells in every county of the U.S. That means nobody's safe, if that's true. I think there's some counties that would be an exception, like maybe Lynchburg County in Tennessee, which is southeast Tennessee, a few of them maybe in eastern Tennessee, maybe a few in western North Carolina. There's a few places where, you know, the only people living in those counties are good old rednecks who I just have a hard time thinking they get much traction in those counties. But and maybe in some places in northern Idaho, and there's a few around. I don't think that they'd be in. I really haven't seen much of Iranians around here either, to come think of it, but they are certainly, you know, and there's a lot of good Iranians. A lot of them left Iran to get away from the Ayatollahs. A lot of them. The bulk of them just wanted to get away from that regime. And in fact, you'll see to this day, they're actually burning Gazan flags in Iran. The truckers there run a big strike, and a lot of Iranians are saying the regime's going to fall in a couple of years. Best that it won't last. It's not popular. Would an attack by us facilitate that, or cause people to rally around them? I don't know. Some real strategic thinking has to be done there. Maybe the attack should just focus on taking out the government. We definitely shouldn't attack any civilian facilities, because the people over there don't want no more part of the Ayatollahs. So let's hope that we just let time take care of things, as they will. Of course, Iran will have nukes by then. That's probably something that would happen, and that will cause an arms race throughout the whole Mideast and increase the likelihood that there will be a loose nuke that might get loose and be acquired by some group that might want to use one over here, a terrorist group of some type. You know, we have to worry about those kind of things. So I don't know what the right answer to that is. Tough. It's a tough thing to look at. It's you know, we're in bad times any way you slice it, guys. Any way you slice it. But here's what Hegseth said over in Singapore at that Shangri-La conference. He said, and this is directly from his words, he's talking about China's any attempt by communist China to conquer Taiwan by force would result in devastating consequences for the Indo-Pacific and the world. He said there's no reason to sugarcoat it. The threat China poses is real, and it could be imminent. He said, we hope not, but it certainly could be. Well, you know, China did not like this speech. They really railed against it. But he goes on down here to say, where is it? Find it. I'm going to find his direct words from find it. Maybe skip past it already. Basically, he said that, you know, we would, if they did, he said basically here that we're committed to peace. We're not committed. We're not trying to do a regime change in China. He said that what we're trying to do is hopefully deter China from wanting to attack Taiwan by making Taiwan stronger, the old porcupine analogy. But he said that we would defend Taiwan in so many other words. It's in here. I just don't have it where to come up immediately. I thought I could find it faster than this. So I won't bore you with this, but this is right out of the U.S. Department of Defense website, guys. It's right here. So anything in the Department of Defense website, government website, I can show entirely. There's no, and read from directly. There's no, you know, I don't have to make it just limited use because there's no copyright. But anyway, in other news, just to show you China's one, this pretty face, look at that cute little pretty lady. She's trying to kill all of us, more or less. This is the lady that smuggled that agro fungus into the United States, and it wasn't her first attempt. She smuggled a lot of this kind of mess into the country. University of Michigan postdoctoral fellow, Young Yin, how you pronounce that, 33, charged alongside of her boyfriend, Zhenyang Liu, this plot. Here are some of the samples of what they brought into the United States on one occasion. But she had this stuff in her backpack. She's also brought some in her shoe, and she had somebody ship her a book with some of the stuff in it. So basically, this is a fungus that can attack our crops, our oats, our wheat, and other crops that we have. It's a kind of a blight. Oh, this website's freezing up. Like my whole internet's not frozen. Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Why does this happen? Maybe I can close it. Sometimes the stuff freezes up on me. I got so many articles open. Anyway, so what this stuff does is it not only can wipe out crops, but any of it that gets harvested can make livestock and people that consume it sick or even die. This is very insidious thing. It kind of fits along with these. And the sad thing is, they were getting paid to do research on this in China, but she was also over here doing an American university with your taxpayer money. Basically, she is using your taxpayer funds to wipe us out, to wipe you out, to wipe me out. And then you got to, and some people think we can't cut the budget. We shouldn't be cutting some of this stuff. Really? Really? How's this stuff allowed? Why in the world can't I scroll this or change? Okay, I'm stuck here. Uh-oh. Here we go. Killed that, I guess. So, my friends, it's time to be worried. So this article, because I'm not going to spend money to 40 different websites and news agencies for their service, which would cost me a lot more than I make off YouTube. The article is enough. I was actually able to read it through a different thing. So this, how Putin plans to deliver the killer blow to Ukraine with this summer offensive. Basically, not tanks. So what they're changing their strategy because of drones. What they found out is tanks and trucks are subject to get blown to smithereens. Tanks and trucks are very hard to use in combat these days because they can be seen, and being taken out. So the reliance on tanks and trucks and the like are on the down low now. What they're doing is sending troops in on motorcycles, on foot. But motorcycles have become a new game changer for them because their troops can move quickly. They're harder to hit, harder to see. They can scurry off the road easier. So they're using motorcycles. So what does that remind you of? Remember what I was telling you about horses? Well, horses that would have an advantage in warfare. In fact, they're using mules. They are using mules to move supplies. Troops are riding motorcycles and mules are bringing in supplies. Makes us think of this Kawasaki thing, right? So I'll show you what that is. Yeah, oops. Shoot, it went in the ad. I hate that. Let's see if we can show. Yeah, look at this. What tank can do that? Even a motorcycle can't go here. So robotic horses would have a key advantage in combat. See that, the handlebar section? Don't that look more like a lion's head than a horse head? Does that not remind you of Revelations chapter 9? Go back and see my robotics videos and my Chinese super soldier videos. It may be this may be an invention by a Japanese company, Kawasaki, but you can bet China's racing to copy this. You can bet, they still every technology they possibly can. You bet they're racing to copy this. So look out, guys. Revelations chapter 9 is on the verge of coming online. Wow. Horses. We used to laugh. Why is the Bible talking about horses? We live in the age of tanks and dogs. Guys, this is Unitree's website. This is stuff you can order right now. You can order this H1 robot. You can order the robot dog. All these things are available now. Yeah, you can order the Unitree G1. That one's 16,000. The SEO one is there's another dog that's available. These things are out there for purchase. You can go in here on this website and order them right now. Is that scary, guys? And remember the movie The Terminator, the second one where they had the robot that basically turned into liquid and poured through the bars. Well, nanotechnology is the concept where you would have molecular size robots or machines, and they could really do that. But even with stuff that's not at the molecular scale now, we've got these small little robots, mini robots that swarm and shape shifts just like the sci-fi movies. Guys, this stuff is coming. It's coming so fast. It's scary. Just imagine that. Wow. And Anthropic Research has warned that humans could end up being meat robots controlled by AI. Basically, the jobs that would be available would be the ones where you're the end effector, you're the hands and feet of the AI systems, because you got dexterity. So maybe it's what it's saying is you would be its robot, its meat robot. Oh my gosh. Guys, we're getting in some weird times ahead. Just get ready. Just get ready, my friends. And here's what I worry about. South Korea, new president. He has said that he's going to get friendly with China, friendly with Russia, talking to North Korea. He claims he's still going to have ties to the U.S. and Japan. But South Korea just bought Boston Dynamics, our highest, cutting edge robotics company here in the United States. Boston Dynamics has been bought out by Hyundai, which is the South Korean company. So are we at risk of losing our top level robotics technology to China? Holy smoke. I don't know, my friends. I really don't know. But I would be concerned with that. Oh, yeah, you know that Governor of California, he just had a closed door private meeting with Xi Jinping. And what was that all about, my friends? Gavin Newsom, I'd be worried about these guys. Holy smoke. Yeah, we got governors here in the United States that are more friendly to China than the United States. Just want to update or not. Earthquake. So the Puerto Ricans are dancing hard as usual. We got earthquake here in the most usual location on that Juan de Fuca fault line. We got some in Hawaii. The usual places. Jellystone National Park. We always got them here in West Texas, and we got one down here. We started getting some down here in Parasol, Texas. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. You back up a little bit. You can see they're all over the world around the Ring of Fire as usual. That's a good size one right there. 5.9 in Homatonga, very active place. So, and we got one up here in Japan, Yokohama. I had a pen pal there when I was in high school. Anyway, my friends, on the asteroid front and sun front. Now, I had my meetings with the Germans were interrupted a couple times this morning and the day before. I don't know if it was a solar, the wind coming out of the coronal hole, the sun, or what. There's a little aurora type effect they call a Steve. This one was, we keep getting those. That's something. You can see the aurora activity is pretty intense right now. It's not down south, but it's pretty regular. There's your coronal hole right here. Excuse me. Asteroids. We got one coming at us today at about a third of the distance. Well, no, 0.3 times the distance between the Earth and Moon, was just outside of our geosynchronous satellites in orbit. And this one's 15 meters in diameter, moving along a pretty good speed of 10.3 kilometers per second. Hopefully that should be a miss. Other than that, nothing else coming up that's identified that's going to be in your miss. But look at this one in the past, 0.4, similar to this one, back on the 4th of June. So this goes up through the 19th of July. Not a lot on the chart there, which is a good thing. Anyway, my friends, that's all I'm going to show the news there today. I'm going to stop the share. Hello. Just to show you real quick what I ordered, a box full of seeds, True Leaf. So I've ordered a lot of things from them. And I like to order big seed packets and get them smaller, but I like to get a bunch. It's cheaper per seed that way. This is Tucker white corn. I got some Burgess Buttercup winter squash, plant in the center. Got Connecticut fill pumpkins. Got this is peaches and cream. I got a little bit of sweet corn. That's getting hard to come by, my friends. Waltman butternut winter squash. I love butternut squash. Just to show you comparison, this is the stuff you buy in the stores. I was planting some of the stuff. I opened a packet of seed, pepper seeds, and there was nothing in it. It was empty. I never got that from True Leaf. Now, these are packed full of seeds. Organic painted mountain corn. This is colored corn, kind of like this Indian corn. And that's a good one. This one's drought resistant. All these are short growing season. That one's particularly and pretty drought resistant, especially this one. This corn is one of the best for drought resistance. Blue Hopi corn. Blue Hopi corn. Yeah, Hopi Indians are just north of me. All right. We got a spaghetti squash. Yeah. It's not too late to plant this stuff. There's some Tucker. This is Tucker yellow. The other was Tucker white. I got more seeds than I need. I really could. I'll have plenty of left over when I get done. And this is interesting. This is King of the Garden pole beans. It's a lima bean. So these are good sized beans that grow on poles. So that'll be growing up the corn. That, some of these others. So just to give you an idea. And I've already planted some okra and other things that on rows that don't really go with this, but I just wanted you to see that I do this. I do order from True Leaf Market. I'm mothering on here a lot of times. I don't think I've ever shown the seeds before, except maybe in the videos where we're showing you how to plant microgreen seeds. I might have showed some of the seeds in some other gardening videos I've done in the past. So it's not too late to get that stuff, guys. The links will be below. Let me, we've been on for almost an hour, looks like. So let me go into the chat session here. Hopefully I don't lose the chat. Let's see. Who's in here real quick? Colorado Jan up real late. MP5K Fisher. Billy Boo. Well, we only got 24 people in the chat room. Wow. So how do we at? Let me go over and look at it from here. Do that too. Let's see here. Is that right? Oh, it's 91 watching now. Okay, good. I'm gonna do a refresh here. Fisher. Oops, I'm gonna hit the sound again. Billy Boo. Ah, 91's good. All right. MP soon. I'll just look at it up here. Marsh rabbits. Oh, that's not scrolling too well. I don't think that's got all the chat on it. I think it's just some. On your way to bed. Okay, Colorado Jan. You maybe should go to bed. I think you're saying everybody hit the light. But hey, Brian Perenni's in the house. Very good, Brian. Yeah, I'm about to hit bed myself, Valerie Martin. It has to have air vents, a canister too. What am I talking about there? Radiation. So we're pretty good on that around here now. Yeah, some of the people, most of your radiation, unless it's strontium-90, some of the heavier ones you got to worry about. They last a long time, but there were nuclear tests at the Nevada test range back in the early 60s that are believed to have infected some people around here. And there's some lawsuits over that right now, by the way. So I'm not going to pet that dog. Iron horses, there you go. Marvin Funtime, how you doing, buddy? Grace for purpose, nice seeds. I'm at the bottom. Let's scroll up there. ODA 595, Afghanistan used horses. Yeah. Well, horses are better than tanks now with drone warfare. Regular horses. I don't know. Russians are using mules. We got, can I pet that dog in the house? Raindrops keep falling on my like that song. Saw the movie when it was in theaters. Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid. What happens to our bodies when the Iron Dome is turned on? What will it feel like to live in an electric cage? It's not an electric cage. It's just, it ain't gonna be, it probably won't be as many satellites as what Elon's putting up. So it's not going to be like an electric field they're turning on. It's interceptor-based missiles and maybe some space-based interceptors. There was complaining about everyone is complaining and nothing changes. Nothing is going to change because people are selfish They don't want to come together to fix anything. Oh, sorry, well, take care of yourself, my friend. That's what I'm telling you. Find a garden. When all goes down, there is no cavalry coming to save you. Alice Vanderbergen says you must be reading my mind because I was just wondering why Trump and Elon are bickering. Yeah, well, I want to cover that in a separate video. Putin says it'd be BK5 Fisher. Anyway, I think I'm missing some of the notes in here. Anyway, very good. So let me check something else here while I'm on here. See if anybody went to my website. Donation from Michelle Young back on the second. All right, folks. Colorado Jan still in the house so far. Girl, up past your bedtime. So am I. It's 3 in the morning here. I know you're at 4 in the morning, 4:14. So I'll try not to keep you guys up any later or any longer. So we've been online here for 50 minutes. Yeah, let's keep it under an hour. The news is off the charts. I've been hoping to come alive last several nights, and my early morning meetings just thwarted it every time. And I got to get in the morning and do some garden work and things before it gets too hot. So I still got a lot to do, but at least I won't have to get up at 5 in the morning. So I might get more than 2 hours sleep if I'm lucky. I've only been sleeping 3 or 4 hours a night lately. It's just been kicking me. Anyway, hey, I want to thank you mods for keeping the chat room clean. You know, we used to get hit by a lot of yeah, Marvin. Yep. You're in the same time zone I'm in, basically. Well, I'm in Arizona, which is normally mountain time, but we don't do daylight savings time here. So we're on Pacific time. Again, thank you, mods. Appreciate you all. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Be sure to share my videos, share them widely. And because I'm not getting a lot of help from the platform here. Or sleep at that. Anyway, hanging in there. All right, good, Colorado Jim. Vivian, how you doing, Vivian? Good to see you in the house. So, again, thank you, mods. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And to one and all, a good night, good day, wherever you are. Ho, ho.